Hi, welcome to the IHC Craft Room. I'm Mary. In today's video, we're going to be testing the Village Craft and Candle New Releases Fragrance Explore Kit. This kit comes with 7 new fragrances, and I'm super excited to test them because they were amazing when I smelled them while I was pouring them. So I'm really hyped to see how they melt and what kind of throw we get. And on top of the fact that it's fun to test new fragrances, we're also going to be putting a bit of a Hogwarts spin on the names because, Harry Potter's birthday is at the end of July, and we always pay homage to this very special day here at IHC Craft Room because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So I've renamed all of these fragrances to have a Hogwarts flavor. So I'm really excited to share that with you and to go through this step by step. Stick around to the end. We're going to melt them all, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about all the fragrances. Okay, grab all your stuff, and let's get crafty. This is Mary. Welcome to the IHC Craft Room. For materials, we'll begin with Millennium Soy Wax, the Village Craft and Candle New Releases Fragrance Explore Kit, 6 cavity clamshells, and a bunch of different mica powders that I picked up from Amazon. For tools, we're going to start with some parchment paper, paper towels, a kitchen scale, a pot holder, a temperature gun, a heat gun, heat-resistant gloves, rubber gloves, some wood stir sticks, a couple of plastic cups, and 2 4-cup glass measuring cups. Let's get started by pulling out our first 3 fragrances: Banana Cabana, Black Vanilla and Oud, and Crushed Basil. I'm going to be splitting this up into batches so that I don't exhaust myself like I did the last time I tested a Fragrance Explore kit. You can see that video right here. This time around, I'm going to be using the entire 30 ml bottle for each fragrance, which is going to yield me about 3 of these 2-ounce clamshells per fragrance, plus a little bit of overflow. Before we start measuring out our wax, let's take a minute to chat about Melt Maker Math, shall we? Since I plan to use the entire 30 ml bottle of each fragrance today, and I want a 12% fragrance load for these melts, we're going to be targeting 220 grams of wax and 30 ml of fragrance oil for each scent. So let's go ahead and measure out 220 grams of wax into each of these glass measuring cups, and then we'll head over to the microwave to melt the wax. The manufacturer recommends heating this wax to 160 degrees Fahrenheit by melting the wax in 30-second bursts, stirring each time you take it out of the microwave. Be warned, the handle is going to get seriously toasty by the end, so be careful. These heat-resistant gloves are super useful. Now, if you're patient enough to follow those instructions, then you're better than me because I put the wax in for a solid minute and then stirred. Then for another full minute in the microwave before I finally gave in and switched to 30-second bursts. And then by the time I reached 160 degrees, I was exhausted. Like, how much time does a girl have to stand in front of her microwave? You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. It was fine. Moving on. I'm going to spare you from watching me weigh and melt this wax 575 times. Instead, we're going to focus on mixing and pouring. The first fragrance we're going to start with is called Banana Cabana, and it has fragrance notes of ripe banana, sweet orange, apple, pink coconut, sweet dream peach, sugar cane, and vanilla cream. And trust me, this scent truly smells like slathering some yummy smelling suntan lotion on while sitting under a palm tree on a relaxing tropical vacation. Like, for real. But Banana Cabana doesn't really scream Hogwarts to me, so we're going to rename this fragrance to Banana Butterbeer Float, and then we'll add some yellow mica powder because, bananas. Now, I attempted a number of colors on these melts, and since this was my first time ever using mica powder, I was pretty conservative with how much I added. Spoiler alert, it wasn't enough to get the vibrant colors I was shooting for, so, oh well. Remember to stir really well for a couple of minutes because we really want that color to bind with the melted wax and fragrance oil. Now let's go ahead and pour our Banana Butterbeer Float melts before moving on to the next fragrance. This one is called Black Vanilla and Oud, and the notes are rich Madagascar vanilla, pistachio cream, golden apple, vanilla orchid, jasmine sambac, sheer leather, sandalwood, agarwood, and tonka bean. While it's definitely vanilla forward for me, that smoky woodiness steals the spotlight. It's moody, intense, and leans way into the dark side. And let's be honest, the name Black Vanilla and Oud doesn't exactly scream Transfiguration class with Professor McGonagall. So I'm renaming this one Midnight and Nocturne Alley because this scent, it belongs in the shadows with all the Death Eaters. And if you think I'm going to use any other color than some smoky black mica powder for these melts, then you are sadly mistaken, my friend, because we are seriously channeling some dark arts vibes over here. Oh man, look at how cool that looks. Wow, it's not just a flat black color. It's rich, metallic, and dimensional, like molten graphite with a shimmer that moves as you pour. So cool. Alrighty, let's move on to herbology class and get started with the next herby fragrance called Crushed Basil. This scent has notes of garden basil, pine sap, crushed mint, fresh eucalyptus, sparkling grapefruit, jasmine petals, vanilla bean, sheer musk, and blooming freesia. Get yourself a fresh basil plant and stick your nose in the leaves and breathe in deep, because that's what this fragrance oil smells like. It reminds me of Sunday mornings from my childhood, waking up to my mom's fresh tomato sauce simmering on the stove and the sound of FIFA soccer playing on the TV. Even though the name Crushed Basil is pretty universal, I still wanted a more Potter-esque name for this scent. So we're going to call this one Gillyweed Garden Party. And of course, this fresh green scent needs some green mica powder, obvi. Oh man, this is making my mouth water a bit. This green mica powder shimmer is totally serving magic potion vibes right now. Let's hope it stays that way once the wax cures. Okay, let's move on to the next fragrance. This fragrance takes us into the Hogwarts Great Hall just in time for dessert. It's called Funfetti Birthday Cake, and it's got notes of rainbow sprinkles, vanilla sponge cake, vanilla frosting, and white chocolate. This scent smells like a sweet 3-layer vanilla cake covered in yummy vanilla icing and rainbow sprinkles with multicolored candles on top. We're going to call this fragrance Asio Birthday Cake because if there's cake in the area, it really should be as close to me as possible. Get over here. For this fragrance, I decided to use orange and purple mica powder to do a double pour, which will hopefully result in a cool and festive color combo, not a mix of nasty color. What color do you get when you mix orange and purple? Probably like nasty brown or something. Anywho, let's move on to the next fragrance, shall we? This fragrance has a really fruity scent that's like a flirty bit of citrus and berries softened by smooth suede. Like a love spell whispered under candlelight. This is called Sugared Lychee and Suede, and it has notes of pink pomelo, tangerine, lychee, cinnamon bark, Moroccan rose, raspberry, vanilla sugar, pink suede, tonka, and sandalwood. This sweet and flirty fragrance needed a new name to match, so we're gonna call it Love Potion number 9 3/4, because come on, how cute is that? And it needed a really sweet color, so we're gonna lean into like a rosy, magenta, reddish color and see what we get. Okay, let's keep it moving. We've only got 2 fragrances left. Next up is Sunday Morning Espresso, because if Hogwarts had a coffee shop, this is what it would smell like. Rich, roasty, and just caffeinated enough to keep you awake in divination. It has notes of Robusto espresso beans, blood orange peel, lemon, French roast beans, frothy milk notes, sugary peony, cedarwood, tonka musk, and sweet woods. It is really hard to find a straight coffee scent in fragrance oils. They tend to lean into vanilla or sweetness, but this scent really nails that fresh out of the espresso machine vibe. Way to go, Village Crafting Candle. Now let's switch up the title to match our theme so that Sunday Morning Espresso is now Espresso Patronum! Espresso Patronum. Sorry, I had to. Since we're talking about espresso here, the only logical color for these melts is obviously a rich chocolatey brown. Oh boy, look at how beautiful that looks. Based on how these other melts are curing though, it's obvious that I'm being way too conservative with my mica powder. Oh well. Let's move on to our final fragrance of the day so that we can get to our melt test. The last fragrance we're going to be testing today is called Yuzu Blush, which is a fresh citrusy scent with notes of fragrant yuzu, lemon, wild berries, mandarin zest, and green citrus leaves. It's zesty, bright, and just a little bit juicy, like sunshine in a spell jar. And since lemon drops were Dumbledore's favorite, we're calling this one Liquid Luck Lemon Drop. A scent that's equal parts lucky and citrusy sweet. And for color, this one just had to be gold because our friend Felix Felicis, aka Liquid Luck, is known for its liquid gold color. And frankly, everything lemon needs to be in the yellow family in my world or I just won't be able to sleep at night. Okay, awesome. We've got these all poured and already curing nicely. Let's leave the rest of these to solidify and then we'll do our melt test. It's now been 24 hours since we poured these melts and the tops are super smooth with no sinkholes or wet spots in sight. And the cold throw off of all of these melts is pretty strong, but these colors just make my heart break. They're fainter than my tan lines in December, and frankly, I'm feeling a bit insulted over here. And let's be real, that's 100% my own fault, because obviously, who else's fault could it be? Mica isn't a dye, it's a pigment. It doesn't dissolve in wax like liquid dye does. Instead, it stays suspended if the wax is thick enough and cooled gradually. If not, it sinks like glitter in water, and I definitely did not let this wax cool down enough to be using mica powder. I had no idea I needed to wait. Oh well, your girl never pretended to be perfect over here, okay? Next time, I will definitely let my wax cool down quite a bit before I throw that mica in there, and we'll see how it turns out. But for now, let's move on to the melt test. Actually, wait. Before we do that, I better label these ladies before I forget what's what. So let's do that first. If you'd like to use the same Hogwarts-inspired labels I created for these melts, I've added a free download link in the pinned comment below. And don't forget to add a caution label to the back because who has time for a lawsuit? Santa Maria, definitely not me. Please don't sue me. Okay, awesome. These little ladies are all ready to party. Now let's get to melting, shall we? I tested each wax melt individually in a closed room to really experience the scent. And let me tell you, that 12% fragrance load delivers. I loved every single one of these fragrances. You heard my first impressions as I poured, but for my full review of the Village Craft & Candle New Releases Fragrance Explore Kit, check out the pinned comment below. So what do you think? I'm super thrilled with these wax melt results. I definitely got an excellent hot throw on every single one of these fragrances. And let me tell you, they're all lovely in their own way. Don't get me wrong, I definitely have my favorites. And I did explain a little bit more about what I think about each of these fragrances in the pinned comment below. But I'd love to hear what you think about them. And don't forget, you can get 5% off of this whole Explore Kit on the Village Craft & Candle website by using IHC5 at checkout. Then come back here and tell me what you think of them. I love to chat about it with you in the comments. If you're interested in learning more about candle making or wax melt making, check out one of these videos. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!